Hi everyone, my name's Nehar. I'm the Key Account Manager for Itslearning Fronter. Thank you for attending today's webinar. We will be demonstrating different ways that you can use Itslearning at primary level today. This will include Young Learner Interface, simplifying navigation, staff collaboration and parental engagement. There will be some time at the end for Q&A. But if at any point you have a very burning question, please do use the chat feature and we will try to answer as many questions as we can. If your mic isn't already muted, please do mute it. If after this webinar you do wish to ask any more further questions, you are more than welcome to get in touch with me, or you can speak directly to your key account manager, who will be more than happy to go through all this with you. So I'm going to go in and log in and get started. So the way my site is set up, it's obviously a demo site, so all the information on here is very made up. My site is a multi-site, so it has a primary and a secondary on there. And so as I go through it, you will see some features ask you if you want to share it with the whole academy or if I just want to share it with the individual school. I do know some of the people on this webinar are actually from a local authority, so they're on a multi-site. This means there are certain features that are available only to multi-site users, and there's also certain features that aren't available to multi-site users. They're not major, they're not deal breakers or anything like that. It just means it's a bit of a tweak. But as I go through it, you will see what I mean. So the way I've got this set up is it's with the impression that my primary school has different form groups within each year, which is why I've got class groups as in year groups here. Some of your schools might be different. You might only have one form group per year, or you might want to use it as key stages. You might want to use it as a teacher's name, entirely up to you. The theory is that staff, parents and teachers all log in and see this page. This is their landing page of the dashboard. Parents have that can go through by clicking here, going through to their own course. They can of course also go into the different year groups. This is just a poll that I've put in there to show you how that can work. This is kind of like an information section. If there's anything that you want to spread the word on, you can put it on here, and of course the staff room is here. This is very flexible. You can put whatever information you want on here. All you have to do is click on these three dots and add more content. So if you wanted to use the apps in the library, you can do so. Things like Purple Mash is available in there. The very popular one that I think a lot of schools quite enjoy is the rich content. So this is where you can put text, you can put pictures, videos, anything you like in there, and create something similar to this that kind of like hyperlinks through to other pages. You can also put images in here, files and folders, and if you've got a Twitter page, link it to your Twitter page. So as you will see on here, to make it quite appealing and quite interactive to the younger generation, I have put an image here. So this image is the banner for the site. Now the theory is that this image is probably somewhere in my school, or it's on the website, just so when parents and students log in, they see a kind of like a consistency. This is my MK Academy logo, and to add these, it's simply clicking on settings. If this is grayed out, just click on it and it enables the branding. Change your banner picture to anything you want, And if you're a multi-site, you can't actually change your logo. Usually it would mean if you're on a trust, if you're on a multi-academy trust, it will be the trust image that would go on there. But you can put a picture up here that has your logo and not use a picture here if you're on a local authority site. And again, you can put your school name on there to give it a bit of branding as well. So I'm going to go into now one of my year groups and show you the layouts on that. Please do note that all of the things I'm showing you here are not the way that you have to do it. They're the ways that I am recommending, and I know that some of my schools are doing it. It is always best to sit down and have a conversation with your key account manager to be able to understand what's the best way for the school to do it and what might be more time saving for you as a school. So if I go into my year 3 course, you will see again I have a landing page. This time it's taken me away from my group, so away from my dashboard here and into a course which is year 3. But it's instead of landing on the overview page, it's actually landed me on a specific page. So in a little while I will show you how to change the landing pages. But I just want to explain the theory behind this. So if they land on a page like this, being young children and being parents, it's just easier for them to see this page and click on what they need to. So the theory is here that these subjects are folders within this course that has relevant resources that are being used to teach in class. Down here is the classrooms. So these classes is where you will put the homework, the parents' evening bookings, the pictures that are specific to that classroom. So these take you to internal folders, as anyone in year 3 can see this. Any parent that has a child in year 3 or staff members, etc. These are, so my Holly class teacher is the only person that will see that. The children will see what's in there and the parents would see what's in there. These parents won't see what's in this class parents won't see what's in this class. It just means that if there are pictures and you don't want them to be shared with other form classrooms, etc., work that's being done, homework that's being submitted, it just protects children in that sense. You don't have to do it like this. You can go straight in and have it as your classroom. You might only have one classroom and then you want folders that shows things like history, geography, etc. Entirely up to the school. Right, and homework here, again, it is if the school has a generic homework that the whole of year 3 get. If it is, then you might find it easier putting it in here. If it's going to be classroom specific, then you probably want to put it in here. So moving on, I'm going to now take you into my Holly class and I'm going to show you how to do different pages and create special features. So on here, we come to another landing page. Now, if you've only got one form class per year group, you probably won't need all these different pages. And you might not want them. You might have the same resources, same homework set for everyone in every single class. Entirely up to you, but I'm just doing this because this is another way of doing it. So when I come here, I click on Spring 1 because that's what we're in. And this is now taking me to everything that is specific for Spring 1. So as you would have seen in the previous page, it told you the topics that the children were studying in year 3. This is for all of them in year 3. This page is for those only in Holly class. So the homework is here. That is only for Holly class. If there's any homework set, so for example, if we set a task to read a book, those that would submit it would only be the ones in Holly class. Parents' evening booking, again, only for Holly class. And then these lessons here as well are just for Holly class. So all of this is created using a page. So that's simply by clicking on add, creating a new page, gives you a blank canvas like this that you can then add content blocks to create. So one of the ones that we suggest to use quite often is the rich content. So you could create, give this a, I'm going to create subjects again. So you give this a title, say you want 2 rows, 2 columns, change the width to 95% just so it covers it, and then remove the border. Gives you a nice little table here, which means that you can kind of line them all up. You can centralize this. And then you can add relevant images into it. So I'm going to move that across that way. A bit more maybe. And I want one, yep, I want one in here. I want to use that one. And again, I want to centralize it and make it smaller. Just click OK. And then it comes up here. Obviously, you can see I didn't line that up very well, size that up very well, sorry. But, you know, you get the idea of how that works. So we'll just delete that because my other one looks a bit better. So what you can then do is these little pictures, you can link them to external links, external courses, other courses within Itslearning, or resources within this particular course. So at the minute we're in the Holly class. The Holly class are going to this term learn about angles. So if I click on to, sorry I went too fast there. So on here, if I click on the picture and I click on tree link, it then tells me every single resource that I have within this course. So they are studying maths and they are studying angles. So just want to explain that if you click on the actual name, you get a line underneath it and that then takes you inside it. If you want to select the whole folder, you just move away from the name, and once the tick comes up, you can select it. I just thought I would point that out because it's an error that I've always come across. Right, so if that's that one done. On science, however, they're going to study bones. So I don't have anything in that folder, so I'm just going to click the whole folder. Click OK. Click onto maths. And it takes me straight through to their maths topic. So again, this is pages that I've used, and I have put various different information on here that I want the children to go through while we're studying angles. This here is actually embedded from Quizlet, which is actually one of my favourite tools to use. It's very simple and easy, so what I'm going to do is just show you how to embed that. So I've got Quizlet open here and I've searched obviously angles, and I want to take this, so I open it up, go to the bottom and find the dots and click embed. Now I want to use flashcards, so I'm going to copy that HTML, go back into my course. It's actually this one, so I'm just going to delete that one and add it in. So again, rich content. But this time what you do is you click on source, paste it in there, and then unclick source. You'll get this little frame, iframe. Click OK, and it takes it in there. So I'll move my introduction back to the top. And then you've got it in here, and you can actually work on it. You can move it over, do the relevant things you need to do. You can put a test in here. Of course, I'm aware this is probably not something a year 3 child would do, but it's just something I wanted to show. The other way you could do this is if you thought this was too much information on one page, you can actually create these on their own pages, and it actually looks really nice when you create it on a single page. So again, click that button, create a new page, add a content, rich content, source, paste it in there, and click OK. And then because you haven't got any other contents around it, it actually takes up a majority of the page, which makes it quite interactive for young children because they can see it on a whole screen. If you move that across, you've got the whole screen just there for you. When you create something like this, I'm just going to show you how you can actually create this now as a template. So as you can see, it takes a couple of minutes to create, but it has a lot of useful information on it. And we do recommend that you share this sort of stuff with your colleagues, or if you're in a local authority or in a MAT with other schools there. So say this has taken me an hour to create, and I'm very, very proud of it. And I know in year 2, they're also studying angles. In year 4, they're also studying angles. And I've got 2 other year 3 classes that also studying angles. Might be studying it a little bit more, a little bit less, in a different way, but the main information is there. Now, if this was all linked to my learning objectives, it would be very useful for my colleagues to use as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be very generous and I'm going to share it with them. So you just click on these 2 dots, click Add to Library, put your information on there. So year 3 angles MKP. And now I want to create some keywords so my colleagues can find it really quickly. And then down here, you get the options. So the Itslearning community is anyone that has the Itslearning platform. Nehar Academy is my multi-site. I know it's a very creative name. And then these are my different schools. So obviously if you're a local authority site, you might have many different primary schools that you can share it with. Obviously my secondary school probably doesn't want something that I did in year 3. But if you have other schools on there, of course you can share it. You can share it with the whole entire academy, or you can just share it with your particular school. So if I click on that and click Add, and now you see this little message comes up at the top and this little icon appears on there. Now what this means is if I created this and I was the owner of this topic, and my other 2 colleagues in year 3 used it as well, and then a few weeks down the line I realised one of these links that I've embedded has been updated, so I need to update it for it to work. I can update this one copy and it would update their copies as well. It also means that if I spot a spelling mistake, for example, that could be fixed. The best part is if you create this year, you're going to study it again, teach it again next year. All you have to really do is just double check that all these links work. So usually with Quizlet they work. Things like YouTube sometimes do get deleted or amended, so it's always worth checking. But it means every single year that is all I need to do. I don't need to If I'm teaching year 3 angles, I don't need to recreate my resources, unless of course the learning curriculum changes and I have to add bits to it. But other than that, I never need to do it again. If I'm sharing this and I know people in year 2 and year 4 are also using it and they want to edit it, they could create their own copy. So my updates will only update for those that haven't created their own copy. Now to do that, it is quite simple. I just click on add, and first of all, obviously I'm going to add it to my course. So I'm going to pretend it's not on my course already. So click on add, content from library. Now I think I put my name on this one, so I might be there you go. Add to course. So, you know, this is why it's quite important that you put keywords on there that help someone find it, or have a set name. Probably be a good idea to also put the year on there, but then again, the published date comes up. So I'm just going to add it to my course. Click OK. Right, you will now see it's here. And it's telling you that it's in the library. So what I need to do is I need to click on the 2 dots and create my own copy. Now, once I do that, it takes a little while, it refreshes, and that little icon's disappeared. And all these little boxes have come up, which means I could delete it, I could move it, I could edit it, I could cut it. So if I was not in the Holly class and I was in the Diamond class, which is the year 4 class, I can amend this without any problem. So that's one of the ways that we would definitely recommend you share these pages, creating the topics that need to be done and then sharing it with all your other courses. You could do the same thing with this page. So if there is a template that the school is very happy with and they create it, probably the SLT might want to get involved in it as well. You create it and then you just add it to the library and share it across the different courses. You can then create one of these for every single term. It just means then when the parents and the teachers are logging in, they're seeing something at a consistency. It's always the same sort of layout, the same sort of information, and they don't always go in and see something different. Linking it similar to your website is always a good thing as well. When you log in to my Holly class, when I logged in to my Holly class, obviously you saw the front page and then it took you through to this page. Now you could use the front page for every single class because there's nothing that says it's Holly or it's Willow or anything like that. So the same, every class can have the same thing, it's just the links that will change. On here, of course, you've got homework there. So quite often, and we get different sort of like homework ideas that they do at primary level. So one of the common ones is reading. So you can set a homework, which is a task to read book. Or maybe put a description on there and set a deadline. I'm going to set a deadline of next week. There we go. And then say that is homework, and I just save that. And then when the parent sees it, they see that they've got to read their blue book. Read blue book. Obviously, if I put some description in, it would have been in here, and I just say yes or no, whether I've done it or not. It just makes it that little bit more easier to be able to communicate homework with students and parents. What you can also put in things like building a castle that they might have to do made out of paper, or doing some drawing, creating a I suppose creating or baking a cake, any sort of work like that that they need to do. You can put it through as a task. If you want them to submit any work, in the sense of if they have to bake some cupcakes and take a picture of it, then we would ask that you put it through as an assignment. And I know it sounds quite daunting to give children at primary school some assignment, but it just means that they can then submit something. So if I click into that, bake some cupcakes and send, actually we'll say bake some cupcakes and then upload. Now if I had a recipe, I could have uploaded it in here. I just need to make sure I say that it's a homework and that it's due next Tuesday. And then that's it. And then again, when if they log in as a student, they can see that they've got to bake some cupcakes. They could answer it by uploading their file and then just click and submit. So that is another way, a way that you can set homework for children by using the features on here and getting them more involved in the platform, getting parents involved, and at the same time keeping a record of all the work that they've done. Whether or not you mark them or not, that doesn't matter. It just keeps all their submitted work and all their feedback together in one place. Now, before I move away from the teaching classroom and the teaching atmosphere, I do just want to quickly explain how to set a front page. Now, as you would remember, on here you landed on this page on my year 3. My Holly class then landed on this page. To do that is quite simple. You click on More, Settings, and then Course Properties and Features. Scroll to the bottom and choose a start page. Now, these start pages can be absolutely anything you want. They can be any resource that you have created. So if it needs to be a homework, it can also be a homework. If you have created a page that's just going to talk about all the stuff they're going to cover, you could do that. Just a welcome page, entirely up to you. As long as you've created the resources, you can select that. Just select it and click Save. You could do that on absolutely any course that there is, as long as you've got a resource created within it. Now, what I'm going to do next is talk to you a bit about staff collaboration. I know I've already mentioned some of it as we were going through. The next page is going to be about using the Staff Master course and how you can create other ways of collaborating between the staff members. So if I go back to my dashboard and now go to the staff room, again here it's another page. This page is quite brief because it's information that is available in various different places. So down here I've got emails. Now this takes you through to a third-party link. I do think if you haven't already got emails embedded into the platform, it's worth speaking to your key account manager about that. It just means that there's a little link here that takes you through to your emails. Office 365 and Google Mail is very easy for us to do. There are many others that we can put through for you as well. So yeah, definitely have a chat with us about that. This obviously just talks about the different trips. This is a little discussion I've created. And then here you've got various different links. Now again, this is being created using tables and images and then tree links. So while I'm here, I'm just going to quickly explain. Tree links takes you to anything within a course, so within the same course. And hyperlink, similar to what hyperlinks do, they take you to emails or another website. You can also use the hyperlink to take you to another course. So for example, where I had my year, where is it gone? My year 3 linking through to then my Holly class. It was a different course, so it was hyperlinked through, not tree linked through. So on here, now I'm just going to explain a few bits briefly. Staff meetings, we recommend you use that to store your weekly staff meetings, so they can be voice recordings or they can be actual word recordings using Pages or uploading Word document. It means you don't have to use paper all the time to store them and then have everyone sign it, whereas you can just set a task to see that everyone signed it and that everyone's read through it. Policies, it's really nice to keep your policies all stored in here as a file because it keeps it secure. School news, of course, all training links, BSHE, and then planning. Now, planning is an important one for primary just because we know it's very different to secondary level, and a lot of schools are still doing it paper-based. Now, we do have an internal planner within the platform. The reason I haven't showed too much of that today to you is because it is only when the plan is definite for the long term, whereas if it's something that changes quite a bit, you're probably better off using the system to actually record these plans. So in here you might have your long-term, short-term plans, and then the different classrooms that have these plans. I will also recommend that you put your templates in here. So for example, I've got a template for year 3 in here. Now I might decide that actually as a school we want to use this template for every single year group, and this is just literally where it's going to stay. The courses that I created in Holly class, the pages for angles, that I might decide to store in here as well as a template. It just means that teachers can come here, open it up, and they decide that actually I need this, and then copy to their particular course. And it means then they've got access to it without having to then recreate anything. Again, it just increases the collaboration between staff members, reduces the workload for staff over time as well. We do also recommend that within the Staff Master course is where you create your parents' evening bookings. Now that is something that I know a lot of people have been interested in understanding. So I'm just going to go into that briefly. Right, so as you can see in here, I've got parents' evening and I've got various different ones here. But rather than, actually, I'll show you what one looks like, just so you can see it. And as you can see, a copy has been created apparently. So within here, I've got two different time slots. So this is for my classroom that has 2 teachers, hence the 2 different seats. So it means they could do 2 parents at the same time. This is obviously completely made up. It was actually used for last year, hence the date. But if I show you how to create a brand new one, so you click to add registration. So we're going to call it Parents Evening Spring 1. Please select your for evening. And let's say Parents Evening is going to be I suppose we could pretend that Parents Evening is going to be next month. We'll say the 1st of April. And let's say starts at 17:30. And I want 1 seat for each. And then obviously I could just add new as many times as I want. So we'll do these 3 for now. And then if I want to put a deadline, so it's on the 1st of March. So I want a deadline for the 31st. They could edit their choices and then I just click save. Oh, sorry. I forgot to complete that one. And that's it. So that is my Parents Evening booking completed for Spring 1. Now, as a teacher of Holly class, I want to copy this to my course. So I copy it to Holly class, and within Holly class, I have parents and then Parents Evening. So I'm going to leave it here for now in the Parents Evening. And then I'm going to go back into my Holly class. For Spring 1, and I'm going to edit this where it says, don't forget Parents Evening. Create a tree link into my Parents Evening Spring 1 and click add. Now, when a parent opens this up, they see this, they can click on it and it takes them straight into Holly class. Parents Evening booking. But whatever they select, it's only applicable for Holly class. So if I change the view to a student, go back to the Spring page. Don't forget Parents Evening. So I can now choose a seat. Confirm my registration. And now when I go back in as an admin, I can see that Parents Evening, Spring 1, one of them has been chosen. So my parents have already chosen one of the Parents Evening slots. So And that all sits in the staff master course. This is in no way affected because although it's created a copy, it does nothing to this one. So I've still got all of this available for parents to choose from. And all different can be copied to any classroom, any course, put anywhere in the folder. The last thing I want to show you in terms of the staff collaboration side of things and the staff master course itself when it loads, there we go, is how to keep up-to-date records of the policies. Now, if I open up the staff master course again, so it takes me to the landing page, you see here there's a policy. Now, the thing is, my school has decided they've got a brand new policy. So I want to share some important information, which is please complete the task. And then I'm going to put a picture up. So I think I want to make that central actually. And while I'm at it, I am going to make that central and I'm going to tree link it to my task. So within here, there's a new policy to be completed and it's a task. So I want my teachers to make sure they've read it. So it takes them into a task that says, can all staff read this? And all my staff members, as you can see here, have not read it yet. They're having a lazy day. Or the fact that I put it up 10 seconds ago. But once a teacher has read it, or they've told me they've read it, I could just say it's completed. Or they could go in and say it's completed. What that means is it saves me having to A, send out the policy through email or print it or any other way that you do it, put it on the notice board. It also means that I don't need to keep record or a little tick box of who's read it, who hasn't, because the system does that for me. It just makes it so much easier to be able to share that sort of information with your teachers without having to waste resources on printing, clog up emails, or have a checklist or a printed list that someone has to go through and keep updated. It reduces the part of human error. And similar with the parents' evening booking that I just showed you, it means no one is having to keep up to date with who said what time, who's available when, is there any double bookings, that sort of stuff. I know there are other systems out there that can also do things like parents' evening bookings and policies, but as you've already got the platform, it's there, it's available, there's no need to pay for a third party provider for it. If I now take you to the parent side of things, you will see that there are a lot of things this platform could do to communicate with parents. Now, one of the simplest things is the fact that it has a messaging feature. So on here, I can send messages to my parents and say, please remember this, or please remember there's a field trip. So I can send a mass message or a group message. If I add more than one person, I get the option to send it to every single participant or send it as a group conversation. If it's to parents, probably going to be individually, but it means I can send the information to them as often, for whatever I need to, as often as I need to. You could also send a mass message. It's not something we recommend you do because a lot of the times you're probably only sending it to a group of parents. If all parents are in the course that I've called Parents Area, I can go into New Message and type in Parents Area and send it individually. So the text message I send, sorry, not text message, the message I send would go to every single one of my parents. And when they respond, it will tell me that they've responded, but they won't know who else I've sent it to. And they don't, if they send a reply, it only comes back to me, not all of them. All parents get access to an app. It's not the parent app that we do have coming in the future, but it's an app that they could use similar to the teachers and the students, because they're in a course, so they can see this information. Because there's not a lot of grading and feedback and all that stored within the platform, it's not necessary to give them access to the parent dashboard. If you use things like personal development plans, etc., you can use the mentoring feature and get parents involved in that, but again, they don't need access to the parent dashboard to do that. If you put all your parents in a course like this, with a bit of a welcome from their lovely head teacher, a bit of information about some of the special things coming up, like World Book Day, for example, a bit of information on e-safety, school closure, term dates, all the sort of information a parent needs, similar to what is in the parents' website that the parents get access to, but at the same time it's a bit more specific, so they can then log into, for example, parents' evening booking, and this can take them to various different areas. In my one, it takes them to the option to choose their classroom. They then choose their classroom, and it then takes them to the same page as it would if they went straight from Holly class. It just means there's different ways of them getting to the same information. One of the great benefits of putting the parents in a course is that you can create a newsletter within the platform using the very famous Pages tool. This is one I did for last term. And again, you can just copy and paste this through from one term to another, and all you have to do is just update the information, maybe change the colours a little if you need to, rejig it, put some more pictures in. It's probably going to be a lot more exciting than the information I've put on here. But it just means that that information can be done quite quickly, and it doesn't have to be one person's responsibility. Now, these pages are simply, as I've showed, creating content within here. This time you don't need any hyperlinks, because most likely because it probably doesn't need to go to external sites. And then you could always create these and not activate them until you need to. So I've decided I don't want any of these activated. What you can do is when you activate them, sorry, when you once you've deactivated them, sorry, is edit them as you're going through. So you might have Spring 2020 being edited right now, but you don't want it ready for the parents just yet. When it is available, what you can do is, as you'll see I've done here, share some information with the parents. So this is the announcement section. Anything you put in here, the parents will get, if they've got the app, it will come up as a notification on the app. So please read the new newsletter. Let's just put the newsletter rather than putting the word new twice. and I want to add the resource to it. So even though it's not already available, sorry, even though it's not activated, I can still select it, click add, and then I can schedule it. So I don't want this to be available until the end of the month, and I want that announcement going out at 7:55 in the morning. It's now scheduled, so if I go to scheduled, I will see it there. Obviously it wouldn't be spring 2019 because we'll be going back in time, but that's how you can schedule, create a newsletter and then schedule them in to be available as an announcement to parents on a set date or a set time. You could also then use this announcements page to share any other recent updates. For example, it's snowing, school will be closed. And again, that comes up to the parent in the parents app straight away. And you won't see it here because it's not scheduled, but you will see it in the current. It's snowing. I know a lot of schools get a bit scared about all the comments they're going to get, like you would on Facebook, but you can disable the commenting, so no comments appear. You can then also, if you had wanted to share a discussion, so you wanted to encourage communication between the parents, you can put that in the announcement section and share that out to parents. And this is just simply a discussion. So that would be through here, a discussion, or if you wanted to put out a poll, you can do so too, using the pages feature, similar to what I showed earlier. Ask your questions and set them up. I think that's about it. I don't want to bombard anyone with too much information. I've tried to go into the features that I know the schools that I work with are currently using or in the process of using. I hope I didn't go too fast in what I explained and the way I showed it. Of course, like I said, you can speak to your key account manager who can show you this in more detail, or you can take advantage of our training. I am now going to open up the floor for any questions. So if you have any, please do let me know. I'm just going to have a quick look at our chats to see what questions have come through.